Hello, everyone, and welcome to Elevating Your Life with Paula Vail. And I'm thrilled to have you with us today. I am sharing a fantastic guest, and her name is Kira M. Markoff. She is the author of Mindfulness and Me, a practical guide for living. Fantastic book. She is an outpatient mental health therapist at the Mental Health Center of Washington, Maryland, and psychology PhD student at Grand Canyon University. Kira has undergraduate degrees in psychology and social work from the University of Maryland and a master's degree in social work from the University of Maryland. Since 2017, she has provided mental health therapy to individuals and families specializing with veterans. Oh, thank you. And those with co-occurring substance use disorders. As a yoga instructor and longtime meditator, Kira believes in using a mind, body, spirit approach when working with clients. I am just so happy to have you on the show today. And I just have to say, I just think, what you do, it's just a beautiful blend, Kira. It really is just beautiful. And thank you for all of those out there that you make a difference in their lives. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction, Paula. That was so sweet.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I would love to start with, would you like to share a little more of your background and kind of what brought you to where you're at today and all that you're doing and now even an author?
Sure. So I really started out in social work school. My very first internship was at a veterans homeless shelter in Baltimore City. So it was inner city homeless veterans, and 90 to 100% of them had substance use issues. So that's kind of where I got started on that path. And I realized then that when you want to help people, you have to help people in the way that they need help, regardless of your ideas of what you want to do or what should be helpful. And so I started to kind of bring in ways to help people kind of meet people where they're at, right? And so many people now, and I think this is becoming more and more true, are just feeling stressed, and they're feeling a lot of like internal chaos, just kind of mentally and emotionally, just not feeling like they have a whole lot of clarity, not feeling like we have a whole lot of peace or relaxation. And so mindfulness, and I came to mindfulness through yoga, but really mindfulness in its everyday practicality is the ability or the tool to give people the power to be able to take back some of the control in a seemingly unmanageable life and world.
Yes, I love that. And I know that you have said that mindfulness is an empowerment practice. And I just thought that was a fantastic description. It really is.
Yeah, so often mindfulness is talked about only as a relaxation practice, which mindfulness, meditation, yoga, the whole kind of 9 yards of that realm have fantastic relaxation benefits. They help people with better sleep. They help people feel more calm. They help kind of rewire the HPA axis, which is kind of the stress system inside of our body, right? So it has all of those stress and relaxation benefits. It also has this kind of untapped potential for people to be able to make choices through their life by being fully present, and also present in a way that brings in kindness, compassion, ability to think clearly and speak clearly, to set boundaries, to make different decisions. Because bottom line is, you can think and plan and want all day long, but unless you're truly present in the moment to make a different decision, your life is going to continue along these habitual patterns.
Yes. And isn't that so important to realize in the moment really is everything? Mm-hmm. It's what we think, what we do, the direction of our thoughts. And I believe you're just like me. You believe, one little thing is a ripple and it just spreads like a wave.
Yeah.
And we do that with our thoughts, don't we? We create something, and something you mentioned in the book, it's like it creates, you create a picture.
Yeah.
And talk a little more about that, because that is just so actually very exciting.
So it's interesting. My background, as you kind of mentioned in the introduction, is three-pronged. So I have the mental health side, the psychology side, and then kind of the yoga and meditation side. And all groups, while historically siloed, are all saying the same thing, right? Which is our thoughts are not an accurate kind of mirror or picture of reality. Our thoughts are affected by past experiences, expectations, conditioning, things that we've learned from other people. So we have all of these influences on our thoughts that we don't realize. And so we just kind of blindly assume that our thoughts are accurate to reality. And that creates distortions. And I talk about it sometimes like looking in a funhouse mirror. You know, those mirrors that you go to at the circus and you're either like short and fat or you're like really tall and skinny with giant eyeballs. It's kind of how our thoughts are, except we think that that is actually how we look because we're assuming that it's a real mirror when it's not. And so when you get into this practice of being able to kind of put your thoughts on the back burner, right? You're acknowledging that the thoughts are still there and you're kind of allowing yourself to be present and available to take in different information, then you're able to compare your thoughts to pieces of your environment, your situation that may be different from what your thoughts or your conditioning are expecting or assuming to be there. And our brain doesn't always like that we do that because it takes so much more energy, right? To be able to go based off of learning or assumptions or expectations is energy saving, right? Because if I have to pay attention to everything, take it in, decide what it means, see how it fits or doesn't fit with what I've got, like, I mean, you can already tell that's so much more of a timely and energetic process. But the problem is that there are so many consequences for habitual functioning and assumptions that we don't realize. So we're giving ourselves the tools to be able to think differently, but not necessarily kind of requiring or setting the expectation that we need to do that 100% of the time, because that's just not realistic or helpful.
Yes, yes. But those tools, and you
Mhm.
give so many tools in this book and so many practices, those tools can do so much in what we create and where our thoughts go, and then, you know, where our emotions go. I mean,
Mhm.
emotions play a big part in everything, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. And that's the beauty of mindfulness. The beauty of mindfulness is the simplicity, right? Because I can be sitting here talking with you and focusing on my breath, right? And that keeps me grounded, it keeps me anchored because, like you said, thoughts and emotions have a tendency to kind of stir everything up. And so sometimes I think of a mindfulness practice as kind of like letting the white noise settle, right? Because we have all of these buzzing, maybe fears or self-doubt or insecurities. And so if I'm able to keep myself grounded, either, you know, sensing into the feeling of my foot on the floor or sensing into my breath coming in and out, that keeps me grounded enough and it keeps some of those white noise kind of distracting or upsetting thoughts and feelings kind of at bay so that I can keep myself present to the moment.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And, you know, our thoughts and our emotions are such a big part of what we create
Mm-hmm.
and how we feel. But it's kind of like we've got the steering wheel and it's like, okay, what road are we going to go down? Am I going to turn right at that light or am I going to go straight?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. And our culture has demonized certain thoughts and feelings. And I think that's kind of a beautiful application of mindfulness too, which is to say no thought or feeling is wrong or bad or needs to be gotten rid of, right? All feelings are part of a full life, the full spectrum of human existence, right? I'm having feelings, all humans have feelings, and it's a practice of accepting the feelings, one without needing to act on them. Because one primary function of feelings is to motivate or to have some kind of like impulse for a behavior, right? And so mindfulness can help create that break so that we aren't engaging in like self-sabotaging behaviors because we have these difficult emotions. The other part is being able to feel them and know that they don't have to take you over. You're not going to feel like this forever, but you can feel like this now and acknowledge that it's happening and validate that what's going on. One, you're allowed to feel it. Two, it makes sense to feel it. Three, there's nothing wrong with feeling it. You're not broken for feeling it, right? So we can have all of this nice, soothing validation without needing to say, like, oh, I'm feeling so much shame. I need to have this risky sexual behavior, or I need to have this substance use, or I need to binge or restrict eating, so we can kind of create a separation and allow really hurtful thoughts and feelings without then going into any kind of self-sabotaging behaviors.
Oh, yes, yes, I love that. And something you said in your book, I absolutely loved. It was smile to myself.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Share a little bit about that.
So that's actually
just saying it.
Yeah, it's a traditional Zen practice. And also some modern psychotherapies have kind of adopted it because what they found is when you can do this kind of internally, right? As just kind of an internal smile to myself, right? So then through every situation, through every day, you have this smile, which is just an offering or an invitation for acceptance, for peace, for happiness, right? Like if you think about either smiling yourself or somebody smiling at you, right? That's really comforting. That's a sign of connection, right? So this internal smile is an offering to yourself to be in loving connection with yourself. You can also do it as a physical smile practice. And the invitation or the offering there is for it to be a half smile, right? So we're not making it like this giant, like, kind of like over dramatized smile, because actually that loses the benefits. But if you just kind of turn the sides of your mouth up just a little bit, right, and kind of give yourself a little half smile, you actually release chemicals inside of your brain that make you feel happier. So it has
Wow.
this really cool kind of emotional and physical impact just from creating a smile. So even if you're feeling sad or you're feeling worried, you can give a half smile to yourself and kind of offer your brain some of those feel good chemicals.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I think of like, oh boy, me and computers, why do I have problems? Okay, I'll just smile.
Maybe offer a smile to the computer, see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll be friends today.
Oh, I've always loved smiles. And I really feel, when we do that smile, I think it affects others as well.
Oh, I have a little nephew. He's about 8 months old, and he's gotten into this really smiley phase. And it really is a bid for connection. You do something and he smiles and you just get like all warm and bubbly inside, right? And somehow I think we lose that. And maybe I'm weird, but I'm the kind of person who, when I'm riding in a car, I will intentionally look at other people and smile at them
Yes, yes.
because I think it's just a beautiful moment of connection. And I think we need
Yeah,
more of that.
we do. I just did that yesterday. So stopped at a red light and there was a young mother with a couple children on the
Oh,
sidewalk, and I smiled and she looked at me and was like, oh, and she smiled.
oh, I love that. It's so easy to get focused on the problems of the world. Oh, so many people are hurting, we're stressed, people are cutting each other off in traffic, and it's, so easy to kind of get like hard-hearted, to get kind of like closed and shut off. And I think that really what people are craving now is this connection, right? This sense of almost community. And if we can offer even a taste of that with a smile,
Yeah.
something so small, and it's so healing for us and healing
Yes.
for them. Thich Nhat Hanh talks a little bit, not about smiling specifically, but kind of this idea of nourishing the self and nourishing others with our words, specifically in his book, The Art of Communicating, which I really love. And it was so funny. He talked about reaching out to the FDA to include like TV and stuff as kind of part of their nourishment thing, which I thought was fun. But it's this idea of offering ourselves some nutrition, right? And I think connection, smiles is just that.
Energy nutrition. I love that. I learned a new phrase, energy nutrition. I'm going to give myself some energy nutrition today.
That's going to be a thing. That's going to take off. I see that.
Yeah, that's going to be great. We're starting that. And I loved what you spoke about in your book about clouds. And they are a helpful metaphor for emotions. Share a little bit about that with us.
So I have a personal affinity for clouds. I love them. I love to learn about them. I love to look up in the sky and be like, oh, that's a cirrus or that's a cumulus. And I don't know if they're right, but it makes me happy. But I also love the whimsical side of clouds where it's like, oh, that looks like a duck with four heads, you know? And so it's, for me, clouds are so exciting. And I said this to my husband and he laughed at me. But the thing that I love about clouds is that every day they're different.
Yes.
I've never once, and I guess I've never really tried to, but never once do you walk outside your door, look up at the sky, and the clouds are the same.
Yep.
And the same is true for our emotional landscape if we let it be, right? And that's the thing with clouds is you could chase a cloud and try to follow it across the sky forever, but why? Why would you do that? Why would you say, oh, this is my cloud, I need to hang on to this cloud forever? No, we just kind of let the clouds come and go. And sometimes they look really dark and scary. Sometimes you kind of forget that there's a blue sky behind the clouds. Sometimes it seems like they're never going to leave because all you can see, is dark, scary clouds as far as the eye can see, and other times you look up and it's all blue skies, not a cloud to be seen anywhere, or maybe just those little wispy ones that make you feel kind of like you're in a fairy tale, But the thing about clouds and the thing about feelings is nothing lasts forever. No matter how dark and scary the sky looks, the blue sky is always behind it and it's always going to come back out, and for so many people, when we're feeling sad or scared or ashamed or tired, it seems like we're going to feel that way forever. And they've actually started doing some research on people who've experienced trauma and the way that that affects different parts of the brain. And I read a study that the part of the brain that relates to time, so kind of our sense of time, gets distorted. So people who have experienced a trauma, their sense of time is distorted. And the way that that plays out is that people start really to see things subconsciously, not making an intentional choice, but start to see things as I'm feeling this now, which means I'm going to feel this forever, right? Which is helpful neither for positive or kind of desired feelings or undesired and really challenging and distressing feelings. Because no matter how hard you try, you're going to always have kind of this coming together and falling apart, right? This life cycle. I feel good now, I'm feeling challenged later. And that's just the way that feelings go.
Yes. And that is just so perfect of an analogy. And it's true. Look at the shape, look at what the clouds are. 2 minutes later, you look, it's different. And it's like either sad or exciting. Oh, I love that. But what's going to be next? That's exciting. Right. What am I going to see later?
As long as you are open and available and have that mindset. Because the flip side of that is it's so easy to be like, oh, I love this cloud and now it's gone. And now I'm not even seeing the clouds that are existing now because I'm only focused on the cloud that I'm missing or the one that I want back.
Yes. And would you say that thought process can be in our lives? We may have a happy occasion or time with someone we care about, and then we go back to, back to work or back in the norm or something's changed and it's, but that can be a beautiful thing to carry with us, or it can be regret and sadness. What do you do when you have struggles with that? I miss something so much. That's all I can think about. But I'm in a new moment. What can I create? It's
really challenging for a lot of people. And I think that one key thing to remember is that sometimes the more you try to force something, the harder people dig in their heels, So I'm going to manage it similarly but different if it's me versus if I'm trying to help somebody else through it. Because with me, I can say like, okay, like you're allowed to feel this way, kind of go through the validation. and then maybe be a little bit more firmer with myself, because I know that I have this foundation to work from where I can say, okay, you're allowed to feel this feeling. And I know that you know how to still feel good and still be present in the moment. Right. But for people who may not have built those skills or have those skills, right, we're going to have to come at that from a little bit of a different angle. Because if I just say, oh, you need to not think about that so much so that you can be grateful for what's going on now, people are going to have this automatic wall that goes up, right? Like this kind of defensiveness. And that's again where I think that this connection that we have with people, we can use that as the vehicle. You know, like you and I can still have a moment of connection because you're available to me right now. And even if it's just for 5 minutes, that's 5 minutes of peace and comfort that you were able to experience that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yes, yes. And in your book, you have so many lessons and practices that put together, psychology and mental health and mindful meditation. And that is just such a beautiful blend. And that they can come together and be a beautiful blend, can't they?
Yeah, that was really kind of the hope that I had behind mindfulness in me, is that it would be received as an integration of philosophies. The flip side of that was if it did not come across that way, that it would just be a hodgepodge that did not make sense. So I'm glad that it's received as an integration of all of the beautiful things, because really people are across time and space, right? Giving these same messages, which is life can be enjoyed even when it is difficult. And we can enjoy it through simplicity, through breathing in and out, through looking at clouds, through remembering that thoughts are not reality all the time, right? These kind of simple messages that we get from kind of Eastern philosophies of, Zen, Buddhism, Hinduism, yoga philosophy, right? Through kind of the Middle Ages, through Greek and Roman philosophers, and then into modern psychology. One of my favorite chapters, that's how I refer. So the week practices, I refer to them as chapters because they're kind of grouped. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the seventh one is based on chakras, which is really out there for a lot of people who aren't really into the whole Eastern philosophy kind of thing. So what I love about it is that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So Maslow is a psychologist in about the 1960s. Maslow's hierarchy of needs says that we have some basic needs for safety, food, water, shelter, etc., and then kind of moving up for social connection, for self-esteem, for self-actualization, right? You take that pyramid, it's almost a one-to-one parallel for the chakra system, right? And so then looking through that, we can say, and we can build affirmations, we can build mindfulness practices around helping ourselves to acknowledge and meet those needs that we have, whether you come at it from Eastern philosophy, psychology, or just kind of observations that if I'm not feeling safe, I don't really care about the rest of anything.
Yes, yes. Oh, just beautiful information, dear. Well, we have about 4 minutes left in the show. What last message do you want to share with everyone? What would you like them to think about as we say goodbye today?
I was a little I was a little upset when I realized that 3 years of my research boiled down to a meme. And it's probably one you're familiar with. Those keep calm memes?
Keep
So
calm.
yeah, from Winston Churchill, it was keep calm and carry on from World War II.
Oh, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. So my research essentially boiled down to keep calm and be kind to yourself and others. Literally, it's as simple as that. That's all you need.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And I have to bring up, because I thought it was so fun, you mentioning, simplicity. And an
Yeah.
example was washing your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Tell everyone about that before we go, please.
Yeah. So hand washing is a beautiful mindfulness practice because it's one that most people are doing multiple times a day, right? And what's really fun is when you start to notice yourself wash your hands, you can become the observer and watch as your hands move in these habitual patterns to wash without you even needing to be present. So when you are present, you get the opportunity to feel your hands against each other, and you can kind of create a little bit of a self massage here. You can also feel the temperature of the water, and you can smell the soap. There are so many different like sensory inputs here that it becomes a full experience and something that's easy for your brain to pay attention to. So if we think about mindfulness as mind and body being in the here and now in a way that is kind and peaceful and compassionate, what better way than simply being present as you wash your hands?
Oh, I love it. I love it. And, you know, just taking a moment to be present every day, on different things, it really can make a difference in where our thoughts go, can't it?
Mhm.
And how we feel. Because I know for myself, it's so easy to get caught up in what I'm doing later, what I did do, where I'm
Yeah.
at. And, when just taking a few moments and look at a beautiful sunset, oh my gosh, for me, that's a recharge.
Yeah. I like thinking about it as the switch from doing to being, right? I don't have to be
Love that.
constantly going, doing, thinking, problem solving, achieving. I can just be here and live.
Yeah, I love that. Now, quick question. Do you see yourself writing another book, or what do you see in the future, Kira?
I actually do have a couple of book ideas. Um,
Oh,
yeah, I have a couple kind of like washing around in my brain. I'm finishing up my PhD first, and then I'll have some some availability for writing. But honestly, before I wrote this book, Paula, I didn't see myself writing one book. I did not think that I was an author. That was not kind of in my life plan. I was a mental health therapist, like, and then I just got this idea. And I was like, oh, that would be fantastic to give people 8 weeks of daily practices, somewhere to start from, something that research has shown can be really helpful and can be life changing for people. And I was like, well, if I don't do it, who's going to? So I did.
I love it. I love it. Oh, with my Why Am I So Happy book, when I was in high school in English class, I said to myself, I'd love to write a book today and do it. It took me till I was 60. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. And I did.
Oh, so happy for
You just
you.
never know what's gonna trigger us.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell people it makes me sound like I'm a little out there, but it really just dropped in. And I felt like I was kind of the conduit for something that was bigger than me.
Yes. Oh, well, Kira, your book is amazing. Everyone, it's Kira Markoff, and her book is Mindfulness and Me, a practical guide for living. It is just fantastic. And I am going to throw out to everyone that I have an upcoming interview on the Amazon Live show, Meet the Author. I'll give information later to everyone. I love you for joining us. I appreciate my beautiful audiences everywhere. Kira, I just appreciate you so much, honey, for being on the show.
Thank you so much for your time and space today.
Oh, it's just my honor. So happy to share you and your amazingness with everyone. Love, hugs, and blessings, everyone. Kira, love, hugs, and blessings. Thank you, dear.
Thank you so much.